Good afternoon, you two to Dargent Sports. My name is Peter. Do you know that in this country, at some stage, female football was a lot more popular than the male football? Yes, it wasn't too long ago, a century ago, during the First World War and after the war, the female football was a lot more popular. At one particular match, the female football game attracted over 55,000 people. 55,000 people turned up to watch one female football game. It was a charity game, and that was a century ago. Now, this was the era at which the country was at war during the First World War. Most of the young males being drafted into war, probably from different clubs in the country, and they've been drafted into war. And the female were left alone at home. Some of them heartbroken because their loved ones being they gone to the war front. And so the society, to keep the society going, the women in the society stepped up. They all started working long breaking hours in factories, producing ammunition to supplies to the soldiers in war front. And in this long hardship and hard hours of labor, these women find inspirations and hope in football. And whenever they have their breaks, they start kicking football about. And they started all this kick about football on their breaks, and this gave birth to a competitive football. And all the charities stepped into it and got involved, and this knockabout became a competition, and it became popular. As it got popular, all the factories making ammunition at that time got involved, and they all have various female football clubs, and all these football clubs started playing one another and forming a very, very formidable competition. Everybody was the only thing that was there in the society then, actually, to entertain the people. Even after the war, it became really, really so popular. Then it got to a point that the FA looked at what was going on, that the female football was more popular than the male, and they were looking at this female football would take all the attention and popularity away from male football, and it will also take the money away from the male football. So in 1921, the FA took an action and banned female football in this country. And not until 1971 before this ban was lifted. 1771 before the ban was eventually lifted, and the female football was struggling along the way until very recently. But very recently, the female football have risen above all powers and all odds, and they're now back to where they belong. Today, female football we're now seeing female superstar. Female football now have their own competition, different kinds. They have in the league, they have European Championship, they have the Champions League, and they have the World Cup. The last European Championship was won by the England female team, and the last World Cup just concluded was won by the Spanish national team, and England was a finalist in that competition. So the female football is getting back to where they belong. So shout out to so many people who have supported them. Shout out to their non-dying spirit, the spirit of the female footballers who knew what they wanted, and they've been going for it all along. Shout out to all the media who came along in 1921, the newspapers that were covering it in 1921, and shout out to the new media of today, the Sky Sports, the TNT Sports, and various other bloggers who have been supporting and publishing female football and making us all to be aware of female football. Shout out to spectators who wake up in the morning and go watch female football in the stadium. Shout out to you all, and shout out to Ian Wrighty, who's been supporting female football all along, who's been a voice in the wilderness of the female football for quite a while. Shout out to you, Ian Wright, and shout out to all this media. Shout out to everyone. Female football is now here to stay. There is still pay disparity. There is still inequality a little bit when it comes to the pay, but it's gonna get there. We know that the England FA has now made it possible that the male and female, when they are on national duties to play international football for the country, will now be on equal pay. Shout out to that. They've also done similar thing in Norway. The Norway FA is always also doing the same thing. Now the male and the female are getting equal pay. Shout out to all these FA authorities for stepping up. it's gonna take a while to have on the club level to have the male and the female to be on the same pay. It's gonna take a while because all of that will depend on sponsorships and crowds and who pays what to sponsor, who to sponsor what to sponsor who. So we all know how money gets into football. There's another video for that, which how money gets into football is the movement of money into football. We got the other video somewhere, you can see it. So, but in this case, the female football is gonna get there. We're gonna get female superstar very soon when we're gonna like people like the Ronaldos of this world, the Messi, the Mbappes, and the Gilligan and the Sakas of this world. Soon we're gonna have great female footballers like that, and then the pay can begin to rise for them when they start to attract top-notch sponsorship. So female football is here to stay. The pay disparity will soon be resolved. Female footballers, shout out to you guys. You guys are doing great work. Keep it up. Female football is here to stay. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you, and this is Dijon Sports. My name is Peter.